Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while others struggle their entire lives, working just as hard, if not harder, and yet never quite break through that invisible barrier? What if I told you that the difference isn't about education, connections, or even luck, but rather about a single word that's been whispered through the corridors of prosperity for thousands of years? A word so powerful that once you truly understand its vibrational essence, your relationship with money will never be the same again? I'm not talking about some trendy affirmation or modern self-help catchphrase. This is ancient wisdom, the kind that Florence Scovel Shinn dedicated her life to uncovering when she taught us that your word is your wand, filled with magic and power. She understood something that most people completely miss. Words aren't just sounds we make or symbols we write. They're living frequencies that shape the very fabric of our reality. Every syllable you speak sends ripples through the quantum field of possibility, either aligning you with abundance or keeping you locked in patterns of scarcity. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now, here's what makes this particular word so extraordinary. For millennia, it's been hiding in plain sight, reduced to a simple greeting, stripped of its true power by those who didn't understand what they were holding. The wealthy knew. The mystics knew. The ancient teachers who understood the laws of manifestation knew that this word wasn't just a pleasant exchange between friends. It was a declaration of consciousness, a vibrational key that unlocks the flow of universal abundance. Has this ever happened to you? You've said certain words and felt something shift inside, like you were tapping into a frequency beyond ordinary understanding? That's not your imagination. That's the reality of how language works at the quantum level. Shinn taught us that you cannot get what you want by wanting it, you must become it. This isn't just poetic language, it's the fundamental principle of manifestation. When you speak from a place of lack, you're broadcasting the frequency of absence. When you speak from completeness, from wholeness, from the consciousness of already being abundant, everything changes. The universe doesn't respond to your wishes, it mirrors your state of being. And this sacred word, when spoken with true understanding, doesn't ask for prosperity. It declares that you are already prosperity itself. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might surprise you. This isn't about adding another affirmation to your morning routine or hoping that positive thinking will somehow magically transform your bank account. This is about understanding the science of vibration, the ancient technology of sound, and how one carefully chosen word can recalibrate your entire energetic system. The wealthy have been using this knowledge for generations, and now, the moment you speak this word with genuine understanding, something remarkable happens within your nervous system. It's not metaphorical. It's measurable, tangible, real. Your brain waves shift, your heart rate adjusts, and your entire energetic field begins resonating at a different frequency. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this when she taught that words are molds in which our thoughts crystallize into form. Think of it like tuning a musical instrument. When a guitar string is out of tune, no matter how skillfully you play, the music sounds off. But the moment you adjust that string to the correct frequency, everything harmonizes. That's exactly what happens when you align your spoken word with the vibrational truth of abundance. Most people go through life completely unaware of the energetic impact their words create. They casually throw around phrases like, "I can't afford that," or "money is tight," without realizing they're programming their subconscious mind and broadcasting a very specific frequency into the quantum field. Every word carries weight, carries intention, carries creative power. And this particular word we're exploring, it's been engineered over millennia to activate a state of consciousness that wealthy people instinctively inhabit. It shifts you from the frequency of seeking to the frequency of being, from wanting to having, from aspiring to embodying. Here's what makes this so profound. Once you truly grasp the mechanics of this, once you understand how vibrational alignment actually works, you can't unknow it. It's like learning to read. Once you can decode letters into meaning, you can never look at text the same way again. Shinn called this awakening to truth. And she was right when she said it sets you free. Because suddenly you realize that your financial reality isn't determined by external circumstances, but by the internal frequency you're holding and expressing through your words. The hidden truth behind every manifestation teaching, every prosperity principle, every ancient wisdom tradition is this: consciousness precedes form. Your state of being creates your experience, and language is the bridge between the invisible realm of thought and the visible realm of matter. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. This channel is for people ready to go beyond surface-level advice and dive into what actually creates transformation. I want you here for the journey ahead. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful hoping. This is about understanding the actual science behind how reality constructs itself. Quantum physics has shown us that observation affects outcome, that consciousness plays a role in collapsing probability waves into concrete experiences. The ancients knew this intuitively, which is why they guarded certain words, certain sounds, certain vibrational formulas as sacred technology. The journey from scarcity to abundance isn't about acquiring something you don't have. It's about remembering what you've always been and speaking from that remembrance. Now, I want to go even deeper into revealing exactly what this word is and how you can begin working with it immediately to transform your relationship with prosperity. The revelations that follow will show you the precise method that turns this ancient wisdom into practical, measurable results in your daily life. If this resonates with what you've been searching for, write in the comments, "I'm ready for this transformation." Let me be completely honest with you right now. If you're someone who values comfort above growth, who would rather stay in familiar patterns even if they're not serving you, this probably isn't the path for you. There's no judgment in that. Everyone moves at their own pace. But transformation demands something from us. It requires that we step into uncertainty, that we challenge the beliefs we've been carrying since childhood, that we question the very foundation of how we think money works. Florence Scovel Shinn never sugarcoated this truth. She taught that faith without action is lifeless, that you can believe all you want, but if you're not willing to make different decisions, to speak differently, to show up differently in your relationship with abundance, nothing shifts. The universe rewards courage, not hesitation. It responds to commitment, not casual interest. And here's something powerful: the fact that you're still here, still watching, still absorbing these words. That's not random chance. Divine timing is a real phenomenon. You don't stumble upon the exact information you need by accident. Shinn understood this deeply when she wrote that there are no mistakes in divine mind, that everything unfolds with perfect precision. Your readiness to receive this wisdom is what drew it to you. Think about all the decisions you made today that led you to this exact moment. The algorithm that suggested this video, the curiosity that made you click, the persistence that kept you engaged, all of it orchestrated by a deeper intelligence guiding you toward the breakthrough you've been seeking. You attract the teachers when you become ready for the lesson. You encounter the revelation when you've prepared the ground to receive it. This is the hidden truth behind every major transformation. It begins with a choice, a singular moment where you decide that staying the same is more uncomfortable than changing. Most people never reach that threshold. They dream about abundance, but remain anchored in scarcity consciousness. They want different results, but refuse to adopt a different mindset. They seek the secret while resisting the very journey that would unveil it. The impact of what I'm about to share with you depends entirely on whether you're genuinely ready to implement it or if you're just intellectually curious. Because knowing this word isn't enough, Shinn made that crystal clear throughout her work. It's the consciousness behind the word that creates the magic. It's the unwavering faith, the embodied knowing, the decision to become the frequency of what you desire rather than constantly reaching for it from a place of lack. Behind the scenes of every manifestation success story is someone who made a definitive choice to stop playing small, to stop apologizing for wanting prosperity, to stop accepting less than what their soul knows is possible. Now, let me reveal to you exactly what this sacred word is and the precise framework for working with it in a way that creates tangible, measurable shifts in your financial reality. The technique I'm about to share has been tested across centuries, refined by masters of consciousness, and proven to work when applied with genuine intention. If you felt that inner knowing growing stronger as we've been talking, drop a comment saying, "I choose abundance now." The reason I focus on these deeper principles rather than quick fix techniques is simple. Surface-level manifestation advice gives you surface-level results. You've probably seen countless videos promising instant wealth if you just visualize hard enough or repeat affirmations in the mirror. And maybe you've tried them. Maybe you felt inspired for a few days, even a few weeks, but then the old patterns crept back in and nothing fundamentally changed. That's because those approaches miss the essence of how reality actually operates. Florence Scovel Shinn drew from ancient spiritual truths that have stood the test of millennia, and one of her most profound teachings was that life is a game of boomerangs. Whatever you send out returns to you with precision. Not sometimes. Not if you're lucky. Always. It's spiritual law as consistent as gravity. When you speak words of lack, you receive experiences of scarcity. When you hold thoughts of unworthiness, opportunities that could elevate you somehow slip away. When you embody the frequency of struggle, struggle becomes your constant companion. But here's the revelation that changes everything. The boomerang works both ways. When you consciously choose to speak from abundance, to think from worthiness, to embody the frequency of prosperity, the universe has no choice but to mirror that back to you. This isn't positive thinking, this is physics. This is how consciousness interacts with the quantum field. The ancients knew this, which is why they protected certain words, certain practices, certain keys to manifestation as sacred technology passed down only to those who demonstrated readiness. And that word, readiness, carries enormous weight. Shinn taught that faith is expectancy, that true belief isn't hoping something might happen, it's knowing it's already done. When you declare your readiness, you're not asking permission from the universe. You're announcing a shift in your consciousness, a decision that from this moment forward, you're aligning with a different reality. That declaration is the first step in claiming what she called your demonstration, the physical manifestation of what already exists in spiritual form. Every breakthrough begins with that internal commitment, that willingness to step across the threshold from who you've been to who you're becoming. The hidden truth that most people never grasp is that the journey toward abundance isn't about acquiring something external. It's about shedding the layers of false belief that convinced you scarcity was your reality. Behind the scenes of every major transformation is this inner work, this conscious reprogramming of how you perceive yourself and your relationship to prosperity. The impact of understanding this cannot be overstated. Once you see that you've been speaking your current reality into existence, you suddenly realize you have the power to speak a different one. Now let me share with you the actual word that carries this transformative frequency, along with the precise way to work with it so that you begin experiencing shifts immediately, not theoretically but in practical, tangible ways. If what I'm saying resonates deeply with something you've always known but couldn't quite articulate, comment below. This is my breakthrough moment. The chair you're sitting in right now, the device you're watching this on, even the money in your bank account, all of it is vibration. Not metaphorically, literally. Quantum physics has confirmed what mystics have taught for thousands of years. At the subatomic level, everything is energy oscillating at different frequencies. Solid matter is just energy vibrating slowly enough to appear dense. Your financial reality is energy vibrating at a specific frequency. And here's where this gets fascinating. You are constantly influencing that frequency with your words, thoughts, and emotional state. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this profoundly when she wrote about the invisible forces that are always working for us, and how we ourselves are pulling the strings of our reality through our consciousness. Most people walk through life treating their words as casual, throwaway sounds with no real consequence. They complain about their finances, speak negatively about their circumstances, repeat limiting beliefs as if they're stating facts, never realizing they're broadcasting energetic frequencies that shape their experience. Because that's exactly what words are. Energy broadcasts transmitted into the quantum field. When you speak, you're not just communicating information to another person. You're sending out a vibrational signal that the universe receives and responds to. Shinn called this your wand filled with magic, and she wasn't being poetic. She meant it literally. Every utterance you make carries creative power, whether you're conscious of it or not. Think about how different words make you feel physically. Say the word love out loud and notice what happens in your body. Now say hate and notice the shift. Your nervous system responds immediately to the vibrational quality of language. Your cells are listening, your energy field adjusts, and the universe, which is essentially a vast ocean of responsive consciousness, mirrors back whatever frequency you're predominantly broadcasting. This is the hidden mechanism behind every manifestation principle ever taught. The journey from lack to abundance isn't about changing your external circumstances first. It's about changing the frequency you're transmitting, and your words are the most direct way to do that. If this shifted something for you, let me know by hitting the like button. It helps this message reach others who need it right now. The impact of understanding this transforms how you move through the world. Suddenly, every conversation becomes an opportunity to consciously choose what you're creating. Every thought you speak aloud becomes a deliberate act of manifestation rather than an unconscious habit. Behind the scenes of your daily life, there's this constant dialogue between your consciousness and the quantum field. A back-and-forth exchange where you announce what you are, and the universe says, yes, I'll show you more of that. The revelation here is that you've always had this power. You've just been using it unconsciously, often against your own best interests. Now let me show you the specific word that, when spoken with awareness, recalibrates your entire energetic system to the frequency of prosperity, and the exact method for working with it that turns this ancient wisdom into immediate, practical transformation. If you're beginning to see how profoundly your words have been shaping your reality, write in the comments, "I'm becoming conscious now." Notice how certain words feel completely different when you speak them. Try this with me right now. Say the word abundance slowly and feel what happens in your chest, in your solar plexus. Now say poverty and notice the immediate shift, almost like a contraction, a closing down of your energy. These aren't just semantic differences, they're vibrational frequencies that your entire being responds to. Florence Scovel Shinn captured this perfectly when she taught that the thing you seek is seeking you, meaning there's a reciprocal relationship between your consciousness and what you desire. When you align your words with the feeling of what you want to experience, you create a magnetic resonance that draws those experiences toward you. It's not about tricking the universe. It's about matching the frequency of what already exists in potential form. What's remarkable is that ancient cultures understood this at a level we're only beginning to rediscover in our modern world. The Aramaic language, spoken during the time of the great spiritual teachers, wasn't just a communication system, it was vibrational technology. Every word was carefully constructed to carry specific energetic signatures, designed to affect both the speaker and the listener at a cellular level. These weren't primitive people stumbling through superstition. They were master technicians of consciousness who understood that sound shapes reality, that certain syllables could open doorways in the nervous system, that language itself could be wielded as a tool for transformation. Shinn drew heavily from these ancient wisdom teachings, recognizing that the creative power of the spoken word had been known and practiced long before our scientific instruments could measure it. The hidden truth is that we've inherited this technology, but forgotten how to use it consciously. We speak casually, unconsciously, often destructively, never realizing we're working with precision instruments. Imagine having a powerful computer, but only using it to play simple games because you never learned its full capabilities. That's how most people use language. Behind the scenes of every ancient temple practice, every sacred ritual, every mystical tradition was this core understanding. Words are not separate from the things they name. They carry the essence, the frequency, the vibrational blueprint of what they represent. When you speak the word for wholeness, you're not just making a sound. You're invoking the actual frequency of wholeness into your energy field. This is why certain words have been considered sacred across cultures, protected, used only in specific contexts by those who understood their power. The impact of speaking these words without awareness is minimal. But when you understand what you're activating, when you bring consciousness to the vibrational quality of your language, when you deliberately choose words that carry the frequency of what you desire, that's when the transformation accelerates. Now I want to reveal the specific word that embodies the frequency of complete prosperity, the exact pronunciation that activates this ancient technology within your own nervous system, and the framework for integrating it into your daily practice so that abundance becomes your natural state rather than something you chase. If you're feeling the power of what language has been doing in your life all along, comment, "I recognize this truth." The precision with which Aramaic words were constructed is truly extraordinary. Each syllable, each phonetic combination was engineered to produce specific effects in the human energy system. This wasn't accidental or arbitrary. It was deliberate design based on understanding how sound waves interact with consciousness. Think of it like this. Modern scientists know that different frequencies can shatter glass, levitate objects, or heal tissue. The ancients knew that different word frequencies could shatter limiting beliefs, elevate consciousness, or heal the relationship between a person and their prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn recognized this same principle when she wrote about the spiritual mathematics underlying affirmations, understanding that it wasn't just what you said, but the precise vibrational architecture of how you said it that determined the impact. There's one word in particular that functions as a direct channel to universal abundance, and it's been sitting in plain sight for thousands of years, reduced to a simple greeting that most people speak without any awareness of what they're activating. This word is shalom, but not the way you've been taught to understand it. When most people hear shalom, they think it means peace, like the absence of conflict or a pleasant state of calm. That's the surface translation, the watered-down version that misses the entire point. In its truest, deepest essence, shalom means completeness, wholeness, nothing missing and nothing broken. It's the frequency of absolute sufficiency, of being in perfect harmony with the flow of everything the universe has to offer. Shinn taught extensively about the power of I am statements, recognizing that these two words carry extraordinary manifestation power because they declare your state of being rather than your state of wanting. When you say, "I am abundant," you're not hoping for abundance. You're claiming it as your current reality. Shalom works on this same principle, but takes it even deeper. When you speak shalom with understanding, you're not affirming that you want wholeness. You're declaring that wholeness is your natural state, your inherent condition, your birthright. You're announcing to every cell in your body and every quantum particle in the field around you that you are already complete, already prosperous, already aligned with infinite supply. The transformation that happens when you shift from seeking abundance to embodying it cannot be overstated. It's the difference between begging and claiming, between hoping and knowing, between someday and right now. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough is this fundamental shift in consciousness, this decision to stop operating from lack and start speaking from fulfillment. The revelation here is that the word itself carries the frequency you need. Your job isn't to create something new, but to align with what already exists. Now, let me show you exactly how to work with Shalom in a way that reprograms your subconscious mind, recalibrates your nervous system, and positions you as a magnet for the wealth that's been waiting for you to claim it. If this is landing for you in a profound way, write simply, Shalom. Here's the brutal truth that most manifestation teachers won't tell you because it doesn't sell courses or sound inspiring. Saying shalom or any affirmation while you're scrolling through your phone, worrying about bills, and only half present isn't going to do anything. I see this constantly. People wonder why their affirmations aren't working, why they've been visualizing for months with no results, why they feel like manifestation is fake. And when I ask them to describe their practice, it becomes immediately clear. They're rushing through words while their mind is somewhere else entirely. They're speaking abundance while their nervous system is locked in anxiety. They're declaring prosperity while their attention is fragmented across a dozen different worries. Florence Scovel Shinn said it perfectly. It is done unto you as you believe, not as you say, not as you hope, as you actually believe in the deepest part of your consciousness where doubt can't hide. This is why divided attention and unconscious repetition cancel out your manifestation efforts. You can't trick the universe. You can't fake genuine belief. The quantum field responds to your authentic state of consciousness, not to the performance of spirituality. Most people treat manifestation like a vending machine. They think if they just put in the right combination of words and techniques, wealth will drop out like a candy bar. Insert affirmation, receive money. Insert visualization, receive opportunity. That's not how any of this works, and Shinn warned against this mechanical approach throughout her teachings. She emphasized that faith and expectancy must accompany the word, meaning you have to genuinely feel the reality of what you're declaring, not just mouth the syllables. The transformation from ineffective practice to powerful manifestation happens when you understand that this isn't about accumulating techniques. It's about shifting your state of being. When you speak shalom, it requires your full presence, your complete attention, your genuine alignment with the meaning behind the sound. Otherwise, you're just making noise. The hidden truth is that 5 minutes of truly conscious, deeply felt practice will create more results than 5 hours of distracted repetition. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is this quality of presence, this depth of belief, this unwavering focus that leaves no room for doubt to creep in and sabotage the process. The impact of bringing real consciousness to this practice versus just going through the motions is like the difference between a laser and a light bulb. A light bulb spreads energy in all directions with minimal effect. A laser focuses that same energy into a concentrated beam that can cut through steel. Your attention, your belief, your emotional alignment. These are what transform a simple word into a transformative tool. Now let me walk you through the exact framework for working with Shalom in a way that ensures you're bringing that laser-focused consciousness to the practice, creating the conditions where your nervous system, your subconscious mind, and your energy field all align to become a powerful magnet for prosperity. If you've been doing affirmations mechanically and are ready for a completely different approach, comment, I'm ready to go deeper. The missing ingredient that almost everyone overlooks is alignment. You can know all the right words, understand all the principles, study every manifestation technique ever created. But if you're not in alignment, if there's a disconnect between what you're saying and what you're actually embodying, nothing moves. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this relentlessly. You must be the thing you want, not pretend to be it, not hope to become it someday. Actually embody the consciousness of already having it right now in this present moment. That's what alignment means. Your words, your emotions, your beliefs, your nervous system, all tuned to the same frequency, all broadcasting the same message into the quantum field. Here's where most people get completely stuck, and it's not their fault because nobody talks about this. You can speak shalom, you can declare abundance, You can visualize wealth all day long. But if your nervous system is locked in survival mode, if your body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline because you're constantly stressed about money, you're creating profound misalignment. Your conscious mind is saying one thing while your subconscious and your physical body are screaming the opposite. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. You might be revving the engine, making all the right sounds, but you're not going anywhere. Shinn understood this when she emphasized that the subconscious must be impressed. Your subconscious mind doesn't respond to what you consciously want. It responds to what you deeply believe and habitually feel. If you grew up with scarcity conditioning, if you've experienced financial trauma, if you've been programmed to see money as difficult or scarce, that programming lives in your nervous system. It creates automatic responses that override your conscious intentions. This is the hidden truth behind why so many people struggle with manifestation despite doing all the right things. Behind the scenes, their body is in fight-or-flight mode. Their subconscious is running old survival programs, and their energy field is broadcasting not enough, even while their mouth is saying, I am abundant. The transformation happens when you learn to regulate your nervous system first, creating an internal environment of safety and sufficiency before you speak the word. When your body feels safe, when your subconscious is calm, when your energy field is coherent, that's when shalom becomes a powerful catalyst rather than empty repetition. The impact of this understanding changes everything because suddenly you're not just working with words, you're working with your entire being, creating genuine alignment from the inside out. Now let me guide you through the precise technique for bringing your nervous system into coherence, impressing your subconscious with the frequency of wholeness, and speaking shalom from a place of true embodiment so that every cell in your body becomes a resonant chamber for abundance. If you're recognizing where misalignment has been sabotaging your efforts, right, I'm creating alignment now. Think of it this way. You cannot tune into a radio station at 101.5 FM while your dial is stuck on 95.3. It doesn't matter how much you want to hear that station, how clearly you can imagine the music playing, how many affirmations you say about listening to it, until you physically turn the dial and match the frequency. You're not receiving the broadcast. Florence Scovel Shinn used this exact type of metaphor throughout her work, teaching that you must tune into the infinite by matching the frequency of what you desire. Your consciousness is the dial. Your beliefs, your emotions, your words. These are what adjust your position on the frequency spectrum. And most people are trying to receive abundance while their internal dial is locked on scarcity, wondering why nothing's coming through. This is where shalom becomes extraordinary, because it's not just a word you speak, it's a frequency shifter. When you say it with genuine understanding and presence, something happens in your energetic field. It's not metaphorical. You can actually feel the shift if you're paying attention. Your breath might deepen, your shoulders might drop. There's often a sense of expansion in your chest, like something that was contracted is suddenly opening. Shinn recognized that certain words carry the vibration of the thing itself, meaning they don't just describe abundance, they are abundance in sound form. When you speak these words consciously, they transform your consciousness from the inside out, literally recalibrating your nervous system to a different frequency. The hidden truth is that transformation doesn't happen through force or struggle. It happens through resonance. When you match the frequency of what you desire, the universe has no choice but to deliver experiences that match that vibration. It's not about convincing or manipulating or working harder. It's about tuning your internal radio to the station that's already broadcasting prosperity. Behind the scenes of every manifestation, miracle is this simple but profound shift. Someone changed their frequency, and suddenly opportunities that were always there became visible. Resources that were always available became accessible. Pathways that were always open became obvious. The impact of understanding that you're not trying to create something new, but rather tuning into something that already exists, changes the entire journey. You stop forcing and start allowing. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop operating from lack and start embodying sufficiency. When you speak shalom from this place of understanding, knowing that you're not asking for completeness, but declaring that completeness is your natural state, everything shifts. Your energy field reorganizes itself around this new frequency, and the quantum field responds by collapsing possibilities into realities that match what you're broadcasting. Now let me show you the exact method for using shalom to create this frequency shift, walking you through each element so that when you practice this, you're working with precision and intention rather than just hoping something happens. If you're feeling that shift beginning to occur, even as we talk about this, comment, "My frequency is changing." The word I've been building toward is shlama. And before you think, "Wait, I've heard that before," let me stop you right there. Yes, you probably have. It's been reduced to a casual greeting, something people say in passing without any awareness of the energetic technology they're activating. Most people know it as a simple word for peace, a nice sentiment, something polite to exchange. But that surface understanding completely misses the depth of what this word actually carries. Florence Scovel Shinn spent her life revealing how common biblical phrases held esoteric meanings far beyond their surface translations, and shlama is one of the most powerful examples of this hidden wisdom sitting in plain sight. What makes this so fascinating is how something so potent can be used by millions of people every day without any recognition of its true value. Shinn wrote about this phenomenon, noting that pearls of wisdom are trampled by those who don't recognize their worth. People speak shlama as casually as they say hello, completely oblivious to the fact that they're uttering a word that was designed to activate a state of complete wholeness, to invoke the frequency of absolute abundance, to trigger an energetic response in both the speaker and the listener. The ancient teachers who constructed this word understood vibrational mechanics in ways we're only beginning to rediscover, and they embedded layers of meaning into these syllables that most modern speakers never access. This is the hidden pattern you see throughout history, the most powerful. Truths are always hidden in the most obvious places. The journey of transformation often begins when you realize that what you thought was ordinary is actually extraordinary, that what you dismissed as familiar holds secrets you never noticed. Behind the scenes of casual religious or cultural practices are technologies of consciousness that were once guarded, taught only to initiates, revealed only to those who demonstrated readiness. Over time, these practices became ritualized, emptied of their original power, performed by rote without understanding. But the power doesn't disappear. It just waits for someone to recognize it again. The impact of understanding what shlama actually means versus how it's commonly used creates an entirely different relationship with the word. When you know that you're not just wishing someone peace, but actually invoking the frequency of divine completeness, of perfect harmony with infinite supply, of nothing missing and nothing broken, when you grasp that depth, the word transforms from casual greeting to conscious invocation. The revelation here is that you've possibly been speaking this word your entire life without activating even a fraction of its potential. Now let me show you exactly how to work with shlama in a way that awakens its full power, teaching you the precise technique for speaking it so that your nervous system responds, your subconscious receives the imprint, and your energy field reorganizes around this frequency of wholeness. If you're ready to use this word with complete consciousness for the first time, write, "I see the hidden power now." When you understand that shlama means far more than peace in the conventional sense, not just the absence of conflict or a temporary calm, but rather completeness, wholeness, the state of being entirely sufficient unto yourself, everything about how you use this word changes. This is exactly what Florence Scovel Shinn was pointing to when she taught that true prosperity is the consciousness of God as your supply. It's not about accumulating things or chasing external validation. It's about recognizing that you are already complete, already connected to an infinite source, already whole. Shlama encapsulates this entire understanding in a single utterance. When you speak it with awareness, you're not asking to become whole someday. You're declaring that wholeness is your current state, your natural condition. your birthright. This is a declaration of perfect harmony with the universal abundance flow that's constantly moving through all things. Think about how water flows. It doesn't struggle, doesn't force, doesn't question whether it's allowed to move downhill. It simply aligns with natural law and flows effortlessly. Shinn taught that perfect self-expression is your divine right, meaning you're designed to exist in harmony with the laws that govern prosperity. When you're in that harmony, abundance doesn't require effort. It flows naturally, inevitably, like water finding its course. Shlama is the vibrational key that tunes you into that flow, that reminds your consciousness of its rightful place in the cosmic order. The transformation from seeing yourself as separate from abundance to recognizing yourself as an expression of it. That's the shift Shlama facilitates. Most people live with a fundamental sense of incompleteness, always seeking the next thing that will finally make them feel whole. More money, better relationships, different circumstances. But that seeking itself comes from the belief that you're not already complete, and that belief creates the experience of lack. Behind the scenes of every manifestation block is this core misunderstanding about your true nature. The hidden truth is that you're not broken and therefore don't need fixing. You're not empty and therefore don't need filling. You're already whole, already complete, already in harmony with divine law. You've just forgotten. And the forgetting creates the illusion of separation. The impact of speaking Shlama from the understanding of completeness versus speaking it as a hopeful wish completely changes its effect. When you embody the consciousness that you are already whole, the word becomes an affirmation of truth rather than a plea for change. Your nervous system recognizes the resonance, your subconscious accepts the instruction, and your energy field reorganizes around this frequency of sufficiency. Now, let me walk you through the actual practice, showing you precisely how to create the internal conditions that allow Shlama to work its transformative magic, teaching you the framework that turns this ancient word into a living technology for abundance in your daily experience. If you're beginning to feel what completeness actually means beyond the mental concept, comment, "I am already whole." The fundamental shift that has to happen in your consciousness is this. You're not asking for wealth when you speak Shlama. You're not petitioning the universe to please grant you abundance if it's convenient. You're declaring that you are already abundant right now in this present moment. Florence Scovel Shinn was adamant about this distinction when she taught us to claim your own. She understood that the universe doesn't respond to begging or pleading. It responds to claiming, to acknowledgement, to the recognition of what already exists in spiritual form. When you acknowledge the abundance that's already present, even if it's not yet visible in your bank account, you create the conditions for more of it to manifest in physical form. This is why Shlama is so powerful as a declaration rather than a request. Every time you speak it with the understanding that you are proclaiming your completeness, your wholeness, your perfect alignment with infinite supply, you're making an announcement to the universe. You're saying, "I recognize my true nature. I acknowledge my divine inheritance. I claim my rightful place in the flow of universal prosperity." And the universe, which Shinn reminded us is infinite spirit that cannot be limited, responds to that declaration by removing barriers, by opening pathways, by orchestrating circumstances that match your claim. Think about the difference in energy between "please give me money because I need it" versus "I am abundant, I am whole, I am in perfect harmony with wealth." The first comes from lack, from desperation, from the belief that you're separate from what you need. The second comes from power, from knowing, from the recognition that you and abundance are not separate. You are an expression of it. Behind the scenes of every major financial breakthrough is someone who made this shift in consciousness, who stopped asking and started claiming, who moved from the mindset of scarcity to the mindset of sufficiency. The hidden truth that transforms everything is understanding that alignment isn't something you achieve through effort. It's something you remember through recognition. You don't become aligned with prosperity by working harder or doing more. You become aligned by acknowledging that alignment is your natural state, that separation was always the illusion, that you've never been disconnected from infinite supply. The impact of this recognition ripples through every area of your life, because suddenly you're not operating from the energy of needing to prove yourself or earn your worth. You're operating from the energy of someone who knows they're already complete, already provided for, already held by a universe that's infinitely abundant. Now, let me show you the exact practice framework that brings this consciousness into your body, into your nervous system, into your daily experience, so that Shlama becomes more than just a word you understand intellectually. It becomes a living vibration that reorganizes your entire relationship with money and prosperity. If this shift from asking to claiming is landing deeply for you, write in the comments, "I claim my abundance now." The universe doesn't respond to what you want. Let me say that again, because it's crucial. The universe responds to what you are. You can want abundance with every fiber of your being. You can desire it intensely. You can dream about it constantly. But if your state of consciousness is still broadcasting lack, if your being is still vibrating at the frequency of scarcity, that's what you'll continue to experience. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this exact principle when she said, "It is done unto you as you believe, not as you hope, not as you wish, as you believe," which means as you are in the deepest part of your consciousness. Your state of being is the signal you're transmitting, and the quantum field has no choice but to mirror that signal back to you. This is why transformation isn't about adding new techniques or learning more information. It's about fundamentally shifting who you're being. When you embody the frequency of Shlama, when you become the vibration of completeness and wholeness rather than just thinking about it or wanting it, you turn yourself into a magnet for wealth. Shinn understood this law of attraction in its purest form when she taught that like attracts like. It's not about positive thinking attracting positive outcomes. It's about your vibrational frequency attracting matching frequencies. When you are prosperity consciousness, you attract prosperous circumstances. When you are abundance embodied, you attract abundant experiences. The universe isn't making judgments or playing favorites. It's simply reflecting back what you're radiating. Most people approach manifestation backwards. They think, once I have money, then I'll feel abundant. But that's not how vibrational mechanics work. You have to become abundant first, in your consciousness, in your energy, in the way you speak and think and move through the world. Then the money shows up to match what you've already become. Behind the scenes of every rags to riches story, every unexpected windfall, every miraculous opportunity is someone who shifted their being before their circumstances changed. They didn't wait for external validation to feel worthy. They claimed their worthiness, and the external world rearranged itself accordingly. The hidden truth here is that you're always being a magnet. The question is, what frequency are you magnetizing? If you're being scarcity, you magnetize more scarcity. If you're being worry, you magnetize more circumstances to worry about. But when you consciously choose to be the frequency of Shlama, to embody completeness, to radiate wholeness, you become magnetic to experiences that match that vibration. The impact of this shift cannot be overstated because it means you're not at the mercy of circumstances. You're the creator of them through the state of consciousness you choose to inhabit. Now, let me guide you through the precise method for actually embodying this frequency, for making Shlama not just a word you speak, but a state of being you inhabit, showing you the exact steps that transform intellectual understanding into lived experience and tangible results. If you're ready to stop wanting and start being, comment simply, "I embody abundance." Let me be absolutely clear about something before we go further. You cannot just mumble Shlama like a magic incantation and expect your bank account to suddenly explode with money. That's not how any of this works, and anyone selling you that fantasy is either lying or fundamentally misunderstands the mechanics of manifestation. Florence Scovel Shinn warned extensively against treating God as a servant, against approaching spiritual law like you're placing an order at a restaurant. The power isn't in the repetition of syllables. The power is in the consciousness behind those syllables. You could say shlama 10,000 times with zero awareness and create zero results, because you're just making sounds. It's the state of being you bring to the word that activates its transformative potential. This is why the practice I'm about to share with you emphasizes creating the right internal conditions before you even speak. The journey toward genuine transformation always begins with preparation, with intention, with creating sacred space both externally and internally. When you approach this practice with reverence rather than desperation, with consciousness rather than mechanical repetition, everything changes. Shinn herself was adamant about the importance of morning spiritual work, teaching that the morning watch is essential. There's profound wisdom in this because your subconscious mind is most accessible in the first moments after waking, before the analytical mind fully engages, before the day's worries flood in. Think about how different your energy is in the morning compared to the evening. In the morning, you're emerging from the theta brainwave state of sleep, that liminal space where the boundary between conscious and subconscious is thinner. This is when new programming can take root most easily, when you can impress upon your deeper mind the frequency you want to embody throughout the day. Creating sacred space doesn't require elaborate rituals or special equipment. It simply means finding a quiet moment where you won't be interrupted, where you can turn away from external distractions and turn toward your inner world. The hidden truth is that this act of creating sacred space is itself a form of manifestation. You're declaring that this practice matters, that your spiritual alignment matters, that your consciousness deserves dedicated attention. Behind the scenes of every sustained transformation is this commitment to showing up for yourself consistently, to treating your inner work with the same importance you'd give to any external obligation. The impact of beginning your day from this centered, intentional place, rather than immediately diving into the chaos of emails and to-do lists, literally rewires your nervous system over time. Now, let me walk you through what happens in that sacred space, showing you the exact process for preparing your consciousness to receive and embody the frequency of shlama, creating the conditions where the word becomes a catalyst for genuine alignment rather than empty repetition. If you're committed to approaching this with the reverence it deserves, write, I create sacred space. Once you've created that sacred space and settled into stillness, the next element is crucial. You need to spend at least 30 seconds genuinely feeling the abundance you desire as if it's already present in your life right now. Not imagining it as something that might happen someday. Not hoping for it in the future. Feeling it as a current reality. This is where most people stumble because they confuse thinking about abundance with actually feeling it. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this distinction perfectly when she taught that feeling is the secret to impressing the subconscious mind. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logical arguments or wishful thinking. It responds to emotion, to the embodied sense of something being real and true. What does abundance actually feel like in your body? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that every financial concern you have is completely resolved. Notice what happens physically. Maybe your shoulders drop. Maybe your breathing deepens. Maybe there's a sense of lightness in your chest, a warmth spreading through your solar plexus. That's the frequency of abundance, not the mental concept of it, but the somatic experience. When you can generate that feeling independently of your current circumstances, when you can feel wealthy even before the money arrives, you're doing the inner work that precedes outer transformation. Behind the scenes of every manifestation is this ability to feel the end result so completely that your nervous system believes it's already happened. The hidden truth is that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vividly felt imagination and actual experience. When you genuinely feel abundant, your body releases the same neurochemicals, your energy field broadcasts the same frequency. Your cells respond the same way they would if you were actually looking at a full bank account. This isn't pretending. This is using your consciousness deliberately to create the internal state that magnetizes the external reality. Now, from that feeling state, from that embodied sense of wholeness and sufficiency, you speak shlama, not before you've generated the feeling, not while your mind is still worried about bills. From the feeling itself, you speak the word slowly, intentionally, with what Shinn called realization, meaning with full conscious awareness of its truth. When you speak shlama from this place of embodied abundance, the word becomes a bridge between your inner state and the quantum field. You're not saying it to convince yourself or to manipulate the universe. You're declaring a truth that you already feel in every cell of your body. The impact of this practice, done correctly, is immediate and unmistakable. You'll feel the word vibrating through you differently than any casual utterance. There's a resonance, a sense of something clicking into place, an alignment happening at levels deeper than thought. Now let me reveal what happens in the crucial moments after speaking the word, showing you the final element that seals this practice and allows the frequency to integrate fully into your consciousness, creating lasting change rather than temporary inspiration. If you can feel the difference between empty repetition and conscious realization, comment, "I feel the truth of this." When you speak shlama with that full awareness, imagine the word functioning like a tuning fork. You know how when you strike a tuning fork, it doesn't just make a sound. It creates a precise frequency that resonates through everything around it. That's exactly what's happening when you speak this word from a conscious, aligned state. The vibration moves through your entire being, through every cell, every atom, every energetic layer of who you are. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this beautifully when she said that every cell in your body must hear the good news of your affirmation. Your cells are literally listening, responding, reorganizing themselves around the frequency you're broadcasting. This isn't metaphorical or mystical. It's biology meeting consciousness. Your body is primarily water, and water is extraordinarily responsive to vibration. Research has shown that different frequencies create different crystalline patterns in water molecules. When you speak shlama with intention, you're sending a specific vibrational pattern through the water that comprises most of your physical form. Your cells receive this signal and begin adjusting their own frequency to match it. The transformation happens at the most fundamental level of your physical existence, not just in your thoughts or beliefs, but in the actual matter that makes up your body. But here's where most people miss the crucial final element. After speaking the word, you need to rest in silence for at least 30 seconds, just allowing the vibration to wash through you completely. Don't immediately jump up and rush into your day. Don't grab your phone. Don't start thinking about your to-do list. This silence is sacred. It's where the real magic happens. Shinn wrote extensively about the power of the silence, teaching that this is where spiritual work completes itself, where the word you've spoken takes root in the deepest soil of your consciousness. Think of it like planting a seed. You can have the most perfect seed, planted in rich soil, but if you immediately dig it up to check if it's growing, you'll destroy it. The silence after speaking shlama is that period where the seed is germinating beneath the surface, where invisible processes are beginning that will eventually emerge as visible results. Behind the scenes of every manifestation is this patience, this trust, this willingness to let the work complete itself without interference. The hidden truth is that your analytical mind, your need to control and manage and figure everything out, that's often what blocks manifestation from occurring. The impact of learning to rest in the vibration, to simply be with the frequency you've activated without needing to do anything else, develops a capacity that serves you far beyond this single practice. You're training yourself to trust the process, to allow rather than force, to cooperate with universal intelligence rather than trying to micromanage it. Now, let me share what you can expect in terms of actual results and how to recognize the shifts as they begin occurring, showing you the realistic timeline and the subtle signs that indicate this practice is working even before you see obvious external changes. If you're learning to trust the silence and the invisible work happening within you, write in the comments, "I trust the process." This practice requires daily commitment, and I need to be honest with you about that. The universe rewards those who show up consistently, not those who dabble when it's convenient or only practice when they're feeling inspired. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized this relentlessly. Throughout her work, steady, unswerving faith combined with consistent practice is essential to demonstration. You can't do this once, feel good about it, and then forget about it for 3 weeks. That's like going to the gym one time and wondering why you're not fit. The transformation happens through repetition, through showing up day after day, through allowing the frequency of shlama to become so integrated into your consciousness that it's no longer something you do, but something you are. What's important to understand is that the first shifts you'll notice won't necessarily be money suddenly appearing in your bank account. I know that's what everyone wants to hear, that you'll wake up tomorrow to unexpected deposits and miraculous windfalls. Sometimes that happens, yes. But more often, the first change is internal. You'll start feeling differently about money. The anxiety that used to grip you when thinking about finances begins to dissolve. The desperation, the grasping, the fear, it starts releasing its hold on you. Shinn taught that the subconscious gives you what you expect, and as your internal expectation shifts from scarcity to sufficiency, your external reality has no choice but to follow. This internal shift is actually the most important part of the whole journey because it indicates that your consciousness is changing at a fundamental level. Behind the scenes of every external manifestation is this internal reorganization where your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your energetic signature, all of it begins aligning with a different frequency. You might notice yourself making different decisions. Opportunities you would have jumped at before suddenly don't feel right, and you pass on them without anxiety. Risks you would have avoided out of fear suddenly feel aligned, and you move toward them with confidence. These are signs that your relationship with abundance is transforming. The hidden truth is that most people give up right at this stage because they don't see immediate external results and assume nothing is working. But the internal shifts are the foundation. They're the soil preparation that must happen before the seed can grow into visible fruit. The impact of understanding that transformation works from the inside out changes your entire approach to this practice because you stop looking for external validation and start paying attention to how you're evolving internally, trusting that the external world will mirror that. Evolution in perfect timing. Now, let me explain what kinds of external shifts you can expect once that internal foundation is solid, showing you the patterns of how abundance typically begins flowing when you're in genuine alignment, so you can recognize the opportunities when they appear and act on them with confidence. If you're noticing these internal shifts beginning in your own experience, comment, "My relationship with money is changing." Once that internal foundation solidifies, you'll notice something remarkable happening with your relationship to fear. The anxiety that used to accompany every financial decision starts dissolving. That grasping energy, that desperate need to control every outcome, that constant worry about whether there's going to be enough, it begins releasing you. Florence Scovel Shinn captured this perfectly when she wrote that perfect love casts out fear. When you're aligned with abundance consciousness, when you're genuinely embodying the frequency of shlama, scarcity mindset cannot coexist with that vibration. They're incompatible frequencies. It's like trying to be in darkness and light simultaneously. The presence of one eliminates the other. What's fascinating is how this shift affects your decision-making process in ways you might not expect. You'll find yourself turning down opportunities that previously would have seemed attractive. A job offer comes in that pays well, but something in you knows it's not aligned, and instead of taking it out of fear that nothing better will come, you confidently pass. An investment opportunity presents itself, and rather than jumping at it because you're desperate for returns, you pause, check in with your inner knowing, and if it doesn't resonate, you walk away without second-guessing yourself. This is intuition activating at a higher level, and Shinn taught extensively that intuition is a spiritual faculty that guides you toward right action when you're in alignment. Simultaneously, you'll notice yourself taking risks that your old fearful self would never have considered. Starting that business, investing in yourself, making the bold move that your soul has been whispering about for years. But these aren't reckless risks. They're aligned risks, meaning they feel risky to your conditioned mind, but absolutely right to your deeper knowing. Behind the scenes of every major breakthrough is someone who learned to trust their intuition over their fear, who chose alignment over safety, who made decisions from their center rather than from anxiety about outcomes. The hidden truth is that when you're in genuine alignment, the universe guides you through this intuitive faculty more reliably than any amount of logical analysis ever could. Your mind can only work with known variables, with past experiences, with what it can see and measure. But intuition operates from a much vaster intelligence, one that sees patterns and possibilities your conscious mind cannot access. The impact of learning to trust this guidance system transforms not just your finances, but every area of your life, because you're no longer making fear-based decisions. You're making soul-aligned choices. Now, let me show you what kinds of external opportunities and circumstances typically begin manifesting when you've reached this level of alignment, revealing the specific patterns to watch for, so you can recognize your demonstrations when they appear and receive them with the confidence of someone who knows they're simply claiming what's already theirs. If you're beginning to trust your intuition over your fear, write in the comments, "I follow my inner knowing." Once you've established that internal alignment and you're making decisions from intuition rather than fear, the external world begins responding in ways that often surprise you. Money starts appearing through channels you never would have predicted. An old client reaches out completely out of the blue with a new project. A refund arrives for something you'd completely forgotten about. Someone mentions an opportunity in casual conversation that turns into a significant income stream. The universe has a million pathways to bring you wealth, and Florence Scovel Shinn reminded her students constantly that God's ways are ingenious, His methods are sure. You don't need to figure out how abundance will arrive. You just need to maintain the frequency that allows it to come. This is where people often trip themselves up. They try to control the how, to force abundance to show up in specific ways they've predetermined. But that controlling energy actually blocks the flow, because you're limiting infinite intelligence to your finite understanding of what's possible. The transformation happens when you release attachment to the method and simply trust the outcome. Behind the scenes of every unexpected windfall is someone who stopped trying to orchestrate every detail and instead held their alignment while allowing the universe to handle the logistics. The hidden truth is that divine creativity far exceeds human planning. The opportunities that manifest when you're in genuine alignment are often better and more perfect than anything you could have consciously designed. Now, I want to give you a specific framework for implementing everything we've discussed. Commit to practicing with Shlama every single morning for the next 21 days. Not 19 days. Not whenever you feel like it. 21 consecutive days. Shinn taught that your good is on the way when you maintain faithful practice, and neuroscience has shown that it takes approximately 21 days of consistent repetition to establish new neural patterns, to rewire your consciousness at a fundamental level. This isn't arbitrary. It's the minimum time frame needed for this practice to move from something you do to something you are. During these 21 days, pay attention to the shifts happening both internally and externally. Keep a simple journal if that helps you track the changes. Notice how your thoughts about money evolve. Notice the decisions you make differently. Notice the opportunities that present themselves. The impact of this committed practice versus casual dabbling is the difference between transformation and temporary inspiration. Most people will watch this video, feel excited for a day or two, maybe try the practice once or twice, and then drift back to old patterns. But you're not most people. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be here, absorbing every word, feeling the resonance of truth in what's being shared. Now let me address the most common obstacles people face when beginning this practice and show you exactly how to navigate them so that nothing derails your commitment during these crucial first 21 days. If you're ready to commit to this 21-day journey of transformation, write in the comments, "I commit to 21 days of Shlama." If you've made it all the way, here with me, that says something profound about your readiness for this transformation. Most people would have clicked away in the first few minutes, but you stayed because something in you recognized the truth in what we've been exploring together. That recognition is the universe confirming that you're exactly where you need to be. Before you go, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The work we're doing here goes deep. This isn't surface-level content, and every video is designed to give you practical tools rooted in ancient wisdom that actually create shifts in your reality. Having you as part of this community means we can continue this journey together, exploring the principles that genuinely transform consciousness and through that, transform circumstances. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below saying, "This message was meant for me." I read every single comment. And there's something powerful about declaring your recognition of divine timing. It's another way of claiming your alignment, of announcing to the universe that you're paying attention to the synchronicities guiding you. And if you found value in what we explored today, hit that like button. It helps this message reach other people who are ready for it, who need to hear about Shlama and the power of conscious manifestation at this exact moment in their journey. There's a video right here that takes this even deeper, showing you additional practices that work synergistically with what you've learned today. Click and continue with me over there. Let's keep building this foundation of abundance consciousness together. I'll see you in the next one.